You know.
Paul, the old saying goes, you can't drink all podcast if you don't start at the beginning. So we're just gonna.
What do you got there, Brad?
Oops. I do feel a little odd about drinking scotch like this early in the day. So
Sure.
we've got a fine Pilsner from Trogs, a handcrafted, handcrafted. So
Mark the time, folks. It's 1 p.m., April 17th, 2020. Brad has given up.
this is called Mail It In, folks. Oh, that was a terrible pour. Like, I should hide that behind my surface here. Pay no attention to the beer behind the foam.
Wow.
Yep.
I have my own software development / nap plan for the afternoon. Both are going to occur at a kind of a prone position on the bed.
Yeah. It's like, I was just like, you know what? Today's the day.
I was supposed to do What the Tech with Andrew today, and I was thinking if this happens, I'm going to drink during the show because I just can't take this at Friday afternoon. But thankfully he canceled because he's got a lot bigger issues than a podcast right now.
So here we are. It is Friday, whatever. Apparently, so I've got a conspiracy theory on this.
Mm-hmm.
So the Microsoft made a big splash yesterday about their AI NBA deal, right?
Yeah.
So you know who else also has an AI sports related deal?
No.
Amazon. And you know what sport they have it with?
You got to be kidding me.
The NFL.
Oh, the NFL. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is the Microsoft partner on Surface.
Yeah.
And Xbox.
So I suspect that there was somebody at Microsoft watching the NFL on Sunday last year and was like, look at all our surfaces on the sideline. It says, these stats brought to you by Amazon and our AI. And they just went, oh, damn.
Yep. Because really, who cares what device it gets displayed on? The important work is happening on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So they went after some AI partners. Yeah, I'm sure that AI is going full tilt right now, analyzing the current season.
Remember Bing used to do those things? Like, it's like,
Yes.
Who's going to win this game?
Yep.
I wonder if they had to stop doing that because of the Amazon thing. Maybe. I have no idea on that one. But maybe they could use that AI to talk about the NBA season and, like, is it going to happen? It probably will. I mean, there's bigger fish to fry, like the NFL season. Prior.
Yeah, there really are, actually. But yeah.
There was a great meme floating around from the NFL because I'm probably going to watch the entire NFL draft just to hear somebody talk about sports.
You got to be pretty desperate to watch the NFL draft, but especially this year, right? I mean,
well, let's just be honest. I only need to watch the first 15 minutes of it, then my team's done, and then I can just go. Like we get the first pick.
Must be nice to know. It's like when your kids your last name is Adams, and you can bolt out of there, right? Whether it's like a graduation ceremony or whatever.
Yeah, and there was a great conversation around social distancing at the stadiums, and there's a great expert on this called the Cincinnati Bengals because nobody went to those games, so they could really tell you how
We've been pioneering in social distancing since 1989.
Yep.
Yep. That's pretty good.
Anyway, so that NBA deal, I can't tell you for sure it was because of the AWS NFL one, but I bet there was maybe a little awkwardness of
maybe make a good case.
Yeah. Or they didn't want Amazon to just snatch it up for all the major sports. So.
Right.
I'm sure IBM Cloud's going to probably try to get golf the least analytical sport
IBM
possible.
Cloud. PBA bowling brought to you by IBM Cloud. Whatever it's called. Nobody knows. Watson, something. I don't know.
Yeah, Jeeves. Who knows what they're calling it this week?
Ask Jeeves. Who's going to win this match?
Just spins for 48 minutes trying to figure it out, and then by the time it does, it's already over.
Yeah. So,
anyways, I'm just going to continue drinking because the thought of iTunes actually makes me drink, which is great. You actually don't. I honestly had no idea this was still a thing. There was a problem, but I didn't realize to use Apple Music on Windows 10. If you didn't want to live in Betaville, you had to still download iTunes, which is
yeah.
They really
that's supposed to change this year, right? Like they did those apps on the Mac.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a rumor that they're coming, but I think you're alluding to the web app version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, if you're still using iTunes against your own will and you don't like your computer overheating when you hear that thing boot up.
I haven't had to run iTunes in a while, but the last few times have all been related to some kind of I was running like a beta version of the OS, and they let you download the images, and that's the only way you can get that stuff, installed and whatnot, but or replaced if you screwed it up or whatever. But God, what a piece of crap that thing is.
So the last time I used it was when I bought my wife's phone. I downloaded the backup onto my machine, which you know how that goes. And then I loaded it back onto her phone, and then, as Frank is saying in the chat room, he misses golf, and I do desperately as well. I've been hitting pine cones, like launching them into my neighbor's yard, just not caring. Because what are they going to do? Come over and fight me? I'll cough on them. Like,
jeez. Wow.
So there's pine cone, pine cones, like.
No, I know what a pine cone is.
I'm just making sure everybody knows. They're like that big. And
it's basically a golf ball sized football.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty adequate description. So I've just been, like, when they land in my yard, I've just been taking my trusty 7-iron, which is my favorite club, and just whacking the shit out of them.
And where do they go somewhere, or do they just explode in your yard?
No, they definitely go somewhere. I can usually hit them about 60 yards.
Where do they land, Brad? Is this some neighbor's yard, or?
Yeah.
I see.
Like I try to get them off. Like I try to get them, like up and then like a distance.
So I told you the story about the dog crap in my yard from years ago. My response to this, if I was that neighbor, would be to show up at your house with a giant bag of these things, and when you open the door, I just empty them on your front step and say, "These belong to you."
Well, that'd be great, because then I'd have more ammo just to like.
Yeah. Right.
Well, see, the
second half of the conversation would have been a threat, but yeah.
So here's the part of the story you're missing, which I did not make clear. These are from their yard, but they've blown.
No. Okay, that's
yes. They've blown back, rolled in.
No, then what you're doing is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, I'm just,
So they expect to see these things in their yard.
Yes. It's not like they have an oak tree and then.
Although, admit it, you'd be overjoyed if they're out back having a little picnic or something, and these things started landing on the table,
just launching them up over their gutters. Oh man. So what else is going on? Oh, Paul, I have a great question for you. A great one. So this week has been filled with a lot of email drama, right? I didn't have access to the Outlook. Then I had Outlook, and then it merged all my contacts or whatever.
Right.
Now we're into phase 3.
Oh, did it actually merge them? Did you figure that out?
Well, now we're into phase 3, which is called undo the stuff that I did.
Right.
Can you figure out how to unlink your Gmail account from Outlook.com? Because I can't.
Okay, so one way you could do it would be through the Google account portal, because you set up that permission.
Sure, that is a good point.
That would probably do it. But what you're really asking, of course, is how you do it through Outlook.com.
Yeah, where you added it.
So let me go look.
Yeah, I figured this would be a great podcast thing, because this. I'm looking at it right now. Paul's looking. Actually, I'm drinking a beer right now, but Paul's looking at it right now.
Sure. I mean, there's got to be, he says confidently, some kind of a.
Sure. Like you think, like it makes sense, right? You go into settings. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. View all Outlook settings. I'm navigating through. You go to Mail. You even have a sync email option. This is great. You can see Gmail. You click on it.
Right.
Oh, wait. There's no way. You can change the display name. You can change how it connects. You can't remove it.
Is this a premium feature, would you say?
I don't know why. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's an under premium.
Oops.
Oh, additional mailboxes. There it is. I'll be done.
I was wondering. Yeah, it seems like it would be a premium setting.
So you got to go into premium and you hit remove. Delete from this. Now this is interesting. Delete from this device. Delete from all devices.
Delete from all, Brad. You don't want this.
This is like they're going to end up deleting my actual Gmail account somehow. So there we go. Problem solved. I did not think to look under premium. Maybe it's because I've had too many Pilsners this morning.
This thing says that my Outlook and mailbox has 50 gigabytes of storage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why? Okay. Anyway. All right. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
All right. So now, have you done it?
Yeah, I have done it.
Oh, by the way, I just got the tabs thing advertised to me.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Sure,
it looks like a little hand. It's it's supposed to represent a folder with multiple tabs, but it looks like it's someone opening their hand. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, I follow you. I do not have that option. I assume I'll get that in like 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
So now that that's done, if I open, I don't know if I have the mail set up like I do on the other machines. No, I'll have to experiment with it.
I just turned up dark mode. Sorry. All right, I'll leave that alone for now. But anyway, that's interesting.
Yep, beer from a glass is the best. I agree. That is why I'm doing it. I'm just looking at the chat room because
Oh my God, Brad.
like the only way to go downhill, Paul, is to start from the top. And not that I'm saying that we're at the top.
Oh no, that's why I look at the comments every morning first thing. Speaking of which, by the way, you have a bunch of questions on Friday mornings from your Sam's Report show that you do, right? What was that called before? Didn't you?
So it was called the Redmond Report until I got
right, and somebody
sent some documents over to me through FedEx certified mail saying that I had to change the name of that.
I have this reaction every Friday. It's really funny. Like I'm going through the comments. I don't see them immediately in context of what the conversation is or what the post is from, right? So it will just say something, and I read it, and if it's not spam, I just kind of keep going. But because it's Friday, I also have like the Ask Paul thing I do. So I have questions that come in. And so I see the question and I'm like, oh, for the love of God. And then I look to the right and it says Sam's Report, whatever. I'm like, oh, thank you. And then, then I go down the list, I did that like 7 times this morning.
Yeah. I love, like, that is probably still like my favorite part of the week because.
So how do you handle it? Do you first of all, do you literally answer every one of the questions?
Yep.
Okay, so you address every one of them.
Everyone every once in a while, there's one in there that's like really just like not appropriate, and then I will not read it. But the thing that I like about it is like Paul and I have a way of looking at things through the world, like just understanding Microsoft news. And when you get questions from like tens of thousands of different people, like they come from just all different directions.
Yep.
And so it kind of just gets you out of your like linear thinking. And that's, sometimes they're really hard to answer. Like sometimes people will ask a question. It's like, well, I have this macro in Excel. How am I, like, I can't help you with that.
Yeah.
Like,
right. Somebody asked me a thing about like tenants and Exchange and Teams today. And I was like, it's not my forte, unfortunately.
But one of the really good questions this week was, did I think Microsoft would ever build... Microsoft, I believe, is going to ship a new dock when they announce this stuff. Do I think Microsoft would ever build a dock that has a dedicated GPU in it? Sort of like the Surface Book, but an eGPU dock. I don't personally think they will, primarily because the dock sells exceptionally well in the enterprise, and an accountant doesn't need an eGPU in there, and it's going to inflate that price. But it's a good question.
But they could do a game. Well, see, and of course they can't do that over the Surface Connect port. This would have to be a USB-C dock.
Yep.
And actually, it might have to be a Thunderbolt dock.
I think it has to be Thunderbolt.
So they can't. They don't even support Thunderbolt.
At least until USB 4 becomes the
right.
standard.
But I mean, as of today,
as of today. Yep.
Yeah. Having 2 levels of the dock, one with a GPU, I think would be a good idea.
I could honestly see them just. I say this with the caveat, and you're already going to know what it is. Like letting a third party do that would make sense too. But then Microsoft actually doesn't really have a great relationship with third party for the Surface brand. They really don't.
And isn't that interesting? We discussed that, I think, in the context of your book when we did one of those behind the scene things and director's commentary, whatever we're calling them. There should have been an explosion of third party, keyboard covers and hardware versions of those. I mean, meaning more like the magnesium style, whatever. But that really never materialized. And
no, it didn't.
To this day, I still don't quite understand why.
So the only thing that I can think of maybe is if we assume this, and this is probably a bad assumption, that Microsoft would just let third parties run crazy and build accessories for this stuff.
I think they'd want it, wouldn't they? I mean,
so the only thing I can think of is that we use Logitech for an example. Logitech has the data of how many people are buying their third-party iPad accessories.
Right.
And they look at that and they say, well, you know what? The Surface Pro, maybe it's a smaller user group with a less premium product. Like, it's not going to sell. Like, we're not going to get our money back. I don't know. That's the only thing
I look at it. I would also look at it from the other way, though, because Microsoft does it's very hard to make money in this market, right?
Mm-hmm.
So selling that device, Microsoft's never going to make money on the computer. They probably can make money on those keyboard covers,
Oh, I
and on the
hope
pens,
so.
and on the whatever. So maybe they came. I'm sure in the beginning their deal was, we want this ecosystem to be as big as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You let everyone in. They talked about blades, and they were going to do all this stuff. And then they sold to whatever level they sell to, and it's like, okay, actually, we need to keep this for ourselves.
Yeah.
So
No,
we're just
that's
speculating. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't. I don't know either way, but
where it is, especially where it is today, because things have obviously changed quite a bit from when all these devices have launched. In which, so my brother bought, and let's see, I don't know if we've ever mentioned this, but my brother had to bought a new laptop. I think yesterday. I have two older brothers, and he asked for advice. He's like, which one should I buy? And I just said, it doesn't matter what one you buy, as long as it's from HP or Dell. Their name brand products are going to be fine. Quad core only. I don't care what version. Just get a quad core chip and you're fine. And so he ended up getting the Dell XPS 13. I told him, and he got the white version because I'm not a fan of that black version.
Right,
so,
right.
Because of the oils on the carbon fiber stuff. So.
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
So
yeah.
I'm curious too. Didn't HP announce this week that I don't understand the branding, the ZBook?
Yeah, so
not fan of the name, but it looks interesting.
The ZBook is their super high-end premium line for creators. So these are very expensive devices. They compete with like the 16-inch MacBook Pro. They did something really radical this time too on one of the two models. I think it was the ZBook Studio. If you look down at your keyboard, you'll have like a control key, a Windows key, and an Alt key.
Yeah.
And if you look at a Mac keyboard, the keys are kind of reversed, where they don't have the same names, but the command key, which is the control key, is on the inside, and whatever the Alt key is on the outside. So they actually reversed the keys on this keyboard to make it easier for people coming from the MacBook Pro.
Oh, no kidding.
Kind of ballsy in a way. But so those are very high end. I think you can get them with Xeon processors. Is that right?
That's all right.
I'm sorry. That's not. I'm sorry. I'm mixing this up with. No, wait. I can't remember. I'm sorry. One of the computers I wrote about yesterday has a Xeon option.
That's pretty
impressive. I can't remember if it's a ZBook or not. Sorry.
Letting us down yet again, Paul. Just letting us down.
Not perfect. What am I worried about? You're getting drunk. I mean, I'm still in good shape here.
Look, I'm like three beers away from turning into the back nine of golf here. Like where things really get loose.
Right, from taking us outside. Yep.
Not a whole lot else is going on. It is dumping again, which is
dumping rain. Like rain-wise? Really? Oh God! Please tell me there isn't rain coming here.
It's 47 degrees. It is pouring down rain, which is why we are pouring more beer.
Actually, it says it's going to rain today.
Yeah.
Oh, tonight. Oh, yeah, tonight. Oh, interesting.
Yep. We'll just pour that little guy out.
God damn it.
Yeah, I mean it's.
I mentioned frost, right? There was frost.
Yeah. Yeah. So the other thing too, and this is just way off subject, is so I was yesterday, like I'm 99.999% sure that my vacation that I've planned for end of May is not happening. Like,
of course, yeah.
So that I started looking at like, hey, what about like September? And I'm not trying to do like a jet set European vacation. I want to go.
You're going to get in a car and drive and go to a beach.
Yeah, that is what we do.
This is perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, hotel prices are not like where I thought they would be. Like I was trying to, not that I was looking at like high end hotels, but I figured they would be like maybe like $200 to $300 a night. Some of them were still like $400 or $500.
The problem though is going to be that you're not going to be alone, right? So this thing that should be relaxing, there could be an explosion of that kind of tourism because a lot of people who might have done other things will be looking to do kind of the same. Like my wife and I are talking about, we just want to drive. Could we drive to some place or take a short flight to like Charlotte or Kentucky or Tennessee or something? And I think a lot of people are going to be setting their sights on that kind of a trip whenever travel is possible. So
like a little what you should do. You should fly to Kentucky because you fly into CVG is probably the airport, which is Cincinnati. There you go. Then you could do the little bourbon trail if you really wanted.
Yeah, that's actually why we would go to Kentucky.
Which is funny enough. That stuff is literally in my backyard, and I've never done it, and I have no idea why.
Well, that's the way it works. So maybe what we should do is visit you, and then we can do it together because that's usually what it takes is like someone to come in from out of town,
Yeah, like the Kentucky Downs, Kentucky Derby is right in my backyard.
Derby.
It's
Is that what the place? What's the place called though? Is it
Kentucky Derby? I think it is.
Kentucky Derby's the event, isn't it? And then it occurs at something green or something or Rolling
It's
Green.
called the
or,
Kentucky Derby. What is it
It's
called?
just called-
My wife did a race there. It's held in Louisville, Kentucky. I don't know. It's called Kentucky Churchill Downs.
Churchill Downs.
Yeah.
That's not what I expected. I thought I would know the name of that as soon as I heard it. It's in Louisville.
Yeah. Then there's also in Cincinnati, which is probably canceled, I think, which I had no idea was actually called the Cincinnati Masters, which is actually a huge tennis tournament. Like Roger Federer and all those guys come. I've only been to it like once. And I've golfed. I literally golfed next to this place. And I'm like, I'd never really think to buy tickets.
Yeah. So we do, we do those home swap things. And of course, the people that come here go on, they go to all these places we've never been. In fact, I guess it wasn't it was the year before last. The people from Sweden went twice to this like beautiful waterfall thing. I still don't even know where it is.
It's like stalking their Instagram.
It looks beautiful.
Yep.
I don't know.
So anyways, I'm getting like that itch of like, I need to get out of the house. Like I was talking to our neighbors yesterday and they're like, when you go places, do you just find yourself driving slower? Like, yeah, cause I don't want to get home. Cause like I've done it all. Like which is why I was out driving yesterday, was to get some beer. Well, my wife made a beer can chicken last night and we needed beer. And I was like, yeah, might as well. So
Nice.
Anyways, well, great. I just got an email about how to lose weight faster. I'm sure that's an email list I signed up for.
I could use that because I've been eating like a freaking pig this entire time.
I loved your picture last night or whatever it was. It's like basically I'm eating butter for dinner.
Yeah, that's what I said to Stephanie. I'm like, I respect the fact that this meal is basically butter. She's like, yeah, it kind of is, isn't it? It's just like stick something in butter and stick it in your mouth.
Yep. It's a tried and true carnival style food that has worked for decades. All you got to do is toss it in the fryer after that.
It was really good.
You've got the bacon wrapped bacon at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I got nothing else. You're good?
No, just this, same.
I got to kick my kid off the TV, which she's been watching like all week. She's technically on spring break this week, so there's not schooling. And she's mad at me because for the first time this week during the day, I'm like, hey, I'm going to wind down this afternoon. She's like, I can't watch TV down here? I'm like, no, you have an iPad, you have a Surface, you have a TV upstairs. Like,
you would think a kid would actually prefer to be on an iPad and just, lay on the bed or something and have it right in front of her face. And
yeah, the problem is that she's still young enough that she wants to be around mom and dad, which is, I know, a blessing for the time being.
I remember my daughter was the third leg. You stop and she would run into you.
So we pretty much, like, my wife has a desk down here, and we literally took the desk out of my daughter's room and put it right next to my wife, because that's where she wants to, quote unquote, work, where she tries to figure out how many pints are in a gallon. So there you go. All right, folks, so that wraps it up for this week. I don't know. Hopefully everybody's staying happy, healthy, all that good stuff. If you're having a couple beers this weekend, you can think of me, because that's what I'm going to start doing right about now.
Jeez.